Can you talk about AI in action?
To give an example of, say, machine learning in action today, how companies have actually implemented it, there's one example that I always love to go back to, and it is the example of Woodside Energy, a company in the Australia-New Zealand region. Now, originally, they actually contacted IBM because they wanted IBM to be able to create essentially a system that can understand the different documents and the research that their engineers come up with, and have Watson understand that and essentially replace some of the engineers on their team. And, IBM actually went ahead and built the application. It worked. Watson was able to understand that unstructured content, but they never ended up replacing any of their engineers. Instead, they actually ended up hiring more engineers because now they realized that two things. First of all, the barrier of entry for each engineer is now lower, and knowledge can now be shared more effectively among the teams. Because now, instead of research being written and put into an archive drawer where it's never seen again, Watson's ingesting that data, understanding it, and providing it to whoever needs it, or whoever Watson thinks would need that data.
So if you imagine, in these TV shows and in these movie scenes as well, you have, sometimes, someone's looking for a particular suspect in this particular, traffic intersection or whatnot. They've passed through this intersection, and there's, of course, some cameras around. And so we have the security guard, maybe, try to look through hours and hours, dozens and hundreds of hours of footage, maybe at 10x speed, and trying to find that particular black SUV or that green, car. And then as soon as they find it, at the end of the episode or whatnot, then they say, aha, we found that person. But if you had some sort of computer vision algorithm running on this video footage the entire time, then you wouldn't have a need for, some person to have to manually watch through hours and hours of footage.
Our specific use case is actually triggering new neural pathways in the brain to form. As you can imagine, there's a lot of information that happens there between the connection of how your body functions and how your brain functions, and what parts of the brain are damaged, what parts of the brain aren't damaged, and how you're actually moving the person, or how you're triggering certain things in the human body to happen in order for new neural pathways to form. So what we've done is actually we've created massive data sets of information of how people move and how that responds to different areas of the brain. And through that information, we're able to trigger specific movements with a robotic device, which in turn creates these neural pathways to form in the brain, and therefore recovering the person who's suffered a neurological trauma.